I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I feel super connected to love.
There are people so incapable of making truthful statements that they end up speaking in platitudes that sound contrived and unnatural, like this.
Okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive, and representation is at sort of the heart of evolution.
People who are so busy branding themselves as morally superior that they end up making nonsensical statements.
And this week the world is watching as you cement your place in history by showcasing the good that you are doing today, in the present moment, as we embrace the moment of now to create a better tomorrow.
People who only use inclusive and loving rhetoric for self-serving reasons, which is exposed the minute they start dodging specific questions.
I was at a dinner and heard you speaking about diversity, and heard you speaking about a cabinet that was equal men and women. Today it is gender balance, 17 women, 17 men. It was clearly intentional. One thing a lot of people don't know about the new trade agreement, USMCA, if you will, is that there's actually a chapter on gender equality in there. What does it do?
We've brought in stronger protections for environmental rights, labor rights, women's rights, indigenous rights than any trade deal Canada has ever signed until now. And one of the reasons we did that is because there's a lot of people worried about trade.
In these negotiations, who made the case for the gender part of this deal?
Well, the entire focus of these trade negotiations was to, on my end, making sure that we had something that worked for the middle class, because that's what I got elected on. But
did your team, Katy, Telford, et cetera, did one of you lay out, okay, this has to address gender as well?
We have been negotiating new progressive trade deals for a while now.
Because they're strangers to truth, they often use a word like authentic in their self-branding because that's what they want people to think they are, when the truth is, they give new meaning to the word inauthentic.
Whatever your gender, your preferred pronouns blossom to be, I'm a feminist! I kissed a girl and I liked it. Truth be told, I did more than that. When that song came out, I knew that I started a conversation that a lot of the world seemed curious enough to sing along to. None of us have the answers, or all of them at least. We broke the cycle, and now we're living our best, most authentic lives. We came from the same upbringing where it was difficult to be our authentic selves.
It's great to hear that Perry's new authentic self isn't devoid of an inflated sense of self-importance, same as her old inauthentic self, I reckon. Repeating a word, authentic, that you shouldn't even have to say if you're actually authentic, doesn't have an overcompensating feel to it. Wait, Perry's interview about her space journey is equally bad and revealing. We start out with a touching exchange between Perry and the interviewer.
Katy.
Of the group.
No, you're not the crier of the group.
Feeler of the group.
No, you are not.
I'm crier.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I'm a crier. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not.
You are officially an astronaut.
Yes, never mind the years of tough training that actual astronauts go through. Same as when certain YouTubers want to seem authoritative by branding themselves as doctors because they have a PhD. Technically, they have the right to do so, at least in the US, however.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give, and how loved you are until the day you launch.
Nothing sounds more unscripted and spontaneous than that. It totally doesn't sound like she had rehearsed that before her impressive space journey. Another thing disingenuous and downright deceptive people like Perry do is that they use overly convincing and hyperbolic language to describe alleged emotional states. That's because they're constantly preoccupied with image.
Super connected to
They're so busy trying to sound deep and profound that they don't realize that what they end up saying sounds disconnected and unnatural. Because what does a launch have to do with giving love and being loved? It's a launch. They're so busy sounding morally superior that they don't see that what they say sounds as ridiculous as Anne Hathaway's monologue in one of Christopher Nolan's pseudo-intellectual Oscar winners.
Love isn't something we invented. It's some evidence, some artifact of a higher dimension that we can't consciously perceive. Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
Perry can't even describe a space journey naturally and believably. This speaks to personality. Also, the news media are to blame for what celebrities, politicians, and CEOs get away with. Asking questions that appeal to emotion and pity, pathos, as opposed to logic and rationale, logos, and thus enabling deceptive people to brand themselves any way they want, whatever's most convenient for them at any given moment. We see that next.
We had these incredible shots of Daisy watching you as the rocket, it'll make me cry, as the rocket's going up, and she was so proud. Just kept saying, "Mommy, Mommy." And I know you'll feel the same way when you watch it. And you brought a real life Daisy up.
That's
it was
right.
important for you, not only because it's your daughter's name, but why else was that important to bring it?
Daisies are common flowers, but they grow through any condition. They grow through cement, they go through cracks, they grow through walls. They are resilient, they are powerful, they are strong, they are everywhere.
Exactly like Perry want to be perceived, resilient, powerful, strong. Same as when a certain duchess praised herself under the guise of praising other people.
And what has been echoed so much, really, in the past day by men and women alike is, "Oh, we weren't surprised when we found out when you were a Nigerian." "Oh, no. And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you, because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful, beautiful.
They are resilient, they are powerful, they are strong, they are...
It's as if Perry doesn't know how to react. Should I cry or pretend to? Or should I stay calm?
I just kept saying, "Mommy, Mommy." And I know you'll feel the same way when you watch it.
I like the attempt at sensationalism on the so-called journalist part. So honest and mature.
And you brought a real life Daisy up.
It's difficult to come up with movies that are as pretentious as Perry's important botanical lecture, but I'm sure that at least some Oscar winners deserve an honorable mention. The flight lasted 11 minutes, and the interviewer supports Perry in trying to make it sound like a mission to Mars, the epitome of disingenuous news reporting.
Flowers are, to me, God's smile, but it's also a reminder of our beautiful earth and the flowers here and God's smile and the beautiful magic that is everywhere, all around us, and even in a simple daisy. So to really appreciate it and remember it and take care of it and protect it.
Perry's unscripted and spontaneous reactions make me emotional. Cut. I said cut. Perry knows which terms to use in order to sound thoughtful and caring. However, this is masked moral superiority. Perry invokes the concept of God when it's convenient, when it serves her agenda. She didn't sound so pious in another one of her heartwarming speeches.
And continuing to fight for trans equality amongst all things. These people are actually magic.
Magic.
And they are magic because they are living their truth. Oh my goddess, what a revelation, and not the last chapter of the Bible. They stimulated my mind and they filled my heart with joy and they freaking danced all the while doing it.
Yes, because she seems so filled with joy.
These days, I get an incomparable high from finally knowing myself, and it feels more real than any story I was ever told on a felt board. It feels sparkly as... And truth be told, I think a lot of that has to do with the magic that has rubbed off on me from all of you.
And when people are actually happy and joyful, they totally have a need to convince you that they are. It totally sounds like she's reconciled with her past, I don't know why anyone would think otherwise. By the way, I like how she authentically lowers her voice in order to convey emotion.
So to really appreciate it and remember it and take care of it and protect it and take care of it and protect it.
This is someone so used to faking emotions that she now thinks people think it's authentic. And next, more authenticity.
Gail shared with us the song that you sang when you got up there. What a wonderful world. Why was that important to sing that particular song?
Such a challenging and intelligent question. I can't wait to hear the answer, which I'm sure is going to be just as great.
I've covered that song in the past, and obviously, like, my higher self is always steering the ship, because I had no clue that one day I would decide to sing a little bit of that in space. But I think that it's not about me. It's not about singing my songs. It's about a collective energy in there. It's about us. It's about making space for future women and taking up space and belonging. And it's about this wonderful world that we see right out there and appreciating it. This is all for the benefit of Earth.
Of course it is, and I like how specific she is. Wait, I'm sure the self-promotional aspect doesn't matter to Perry. I mean, when she talks about her higher self, referring to an omniscient and intelligent being, that doesn't sound self-aggrandizing or pretentious at all. Perry says this while the moral superiority is written all over her face, the epitome of an unreliable answer.
This is all for the benefit of Earth.
What people express in the negative is often relevant to note because it suggests that the very thought they're negating is or has been on their mind.
Because I had no clue. It's not about me. It's not about singing my songs.
No, I'm sure it was just another one of Perry's spontaneous outbursts, as if this song is her song in the first place. By the way, it couldn't have been the only song she sang, because it seems she's constantly busy singing her own praises. Singing my own praises. I can't wait for her to co-write that song. Thus, there's a lot that indicates that she actually did have a clue about what she was going to sing, and that she actually thinks it is about her and singing her songs. This observation corresponds to the preceding self-aggrandizement.
It's about a collective energy.
This is groupthink-based rhetoric that celebrities and politicians use for self-serving reasons, masking their self-promotion as doing something for the greater good. Here, Perry brands herself as a pioneer with vague statements that sound like they come straight from the handbook of platitudes. I mean, belonging in what? Belonging to what? And taking up space compared to what?
And taking up space and belonging and belonging.
Another example of deceptive groupthink-based rhetoric is when a certain duchess disguises a personal wish as caring for the demographic she gets paid to say she advocates for.
So much brilliance on this panel, and oftentimes as women, you may agree with this, the way that we see ourselves is reflected back to us, sometimes accurately and sometimes, much to our disservice, inaccurately in what we see in media. The systemic change has to happen at the same time as the cultural change is happening, because if you're reading something terrible about a woman, why are you sharing it with your friends?
What Meghan really wants is for women to stop criticizing her, but she can't say that, so she says we, not I, and a woman as opposed to me. Is Perry really the right person to be speaking about a collective energy, whatever that pompous term is supposed to mean? Nothing, of course. She has a history of pretending to want a conversation with people she disagrees with, only to make sure that they never take place. How inclusive.
When that song came out, I knew that I started a conversation. If we open our minds and soften our hearts, no longer can I sit in silence. I have to stand for what I know is true, and that is equality and justice for all, period.
No, that's not period, because equality and justice are just terms. What matters is how you define the terms. Perry's not interested in conversations. You don't start conversations by saying period. That's how you end them, before they even started. And when has Perry ever sat in silence? Is that even possible?
all for the benefit of Earth.
You have done so many incredible things in your life, selling millions of records, selling out stadiums. Where does this experience rate for you?
People have a responsibility here, a responsibility not to feed someone's tendencies towards self-aggrandizement or narcissism, the way Perry's fans and this interviewer are doing. People should give their time and money to artists that are sincere and actually talented.
This experience is second to being a mom. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, 11 minutes will have that effect on you. And Perry even makes time for an emotional pause to let her profound statement sink in, giving the interviewer time for one of her many authentic reactions.
Yeah.
Something tells me that's not it, which is exactly why Perry said it was it.
That's it. And that's why it was hard for me to go, because that's all my love right there.
So she says while shaking her head no. In case viewers doubt how much love Perry has, she doesn't mind reminding them constantly, apparently. She also doesn't mind reminding them about how blessed she is and how many other great qualities she has.
Because, I am full up from being able to get that gift of being a mom, and to go to space is incredible, and I wanted to model courage and worthiness and fearlessness.
You did.
Worthiness? You mean like this?
It feels sparkly as
Perry talks about courage and fearlessness as if she was the one planning the 11 minutes, and as if there aren't millions of people who would have said yes to go. But let's not let details like that get in the way of Perry's self-aggrandizement. Next, she takes it a step further and tries to make her journey sound predestined.
I mean, even down to the name of, the capsule.
Being tortoise, I know you spoke to all of your fans about that the capsule's named tortoise, the feather on the side, the symbol of Blue Origin, all of those gave you confidence that this was the right thing for you to do, correct?
Yeah, because I just asked for a sign from the heavens, from my angels, and they're like, well, here's the feather, which is what your mother calls you, and if that's not enough, the capsule's named Tortoise, which is your second nickname that your mother calls you. And I'm like, okay, I'm going. Yeah. I got the message, and I'm gonna get the message.
Looking past the self-aggrandizement, pretentiousness and ridiculousness for a moment, people who actually believe false statements like these, such as Perry's fan base, are predestined to fall for other lies. Time for a little digression.
Teresa did a reading with Sonny and Anna this morning.
So my grandmother was living with me and she died.
Mm-hmm.
I think I chose the wrong hospital.
You made the right choice. Do you still have her prayer book or Bible? Because she just showed me the nightstand with a Bible wrapped in rosary beads.
Oh my God.
Oh. To validate that you made the right choice and decision.
Thank you.
Notice how very convenient and deceptive it is that Teresa's suddenly able to link the prayer book or Bible to making the right hospital choice. These two things are completely unrelated, and Teresa didn't even know about the hospital and the prayer book or Bible before she asked.
And if that's not enough,
Perry adds more and more stuff to make it seem that this journey was divinely inspired, so to speak, while she doesn't even specify what these vague entities are.
Asked for a sign from the heavens, from my angels, and they're like, well,
kind of like self-proclaimed psychic mediums.
But now, did someone survive something, or you feel that someone should have survived or didn't survive? Because I said to the grandmother, I said, why are you showing me this protection with angel wings?
Someone who survived or didn't survive something. That could be anybody, which is the point. To be as intentionally vague as possible, in order to cover the whole spectrum for self-protective and thus self-serving purposes. Perry's nonsense about predestination underlines how important and special she thinks she is.
And I'm gonna get the message.
Before I let you get back to your family, I just have to ask you, describe for us, because you're so brilliant at putting, words together and describing moments that we can all appreciate later.
So vague platitudes and self-aggrandizing cliches equate to brilliance? Or is it just the ability to put words together that's brilliant? How low is the bar? This doesn't sound like flattery at all. News media truly take their responsibility to enlighten people seriously. I'd like to hear what the interviewer finds particularly brilliant and why. Strangely enough, they never say that. I wonder why.
So I feel really connected to that strong, divine feminine right now. And not only that, I got to reveal my set list for the tour on a butterfly. How apropos.
Incredible.
Just flying in space. I don't know if anyone's ever
in space.
I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, so I'll just
But wait, I thought this wasn't about her.
It's not about me. It's not about singing my songs.
If you give deceptive people enough time, they'll start contradicting themselves and showing their true faces.
It is the highest high.
So now this is the highest high.
These days, I get an incomparable high from finally knowing myself. Hold up!
High.
So,
High. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, so I'll just
There's a lot of things that you have done first. You are now officially an astronaut.
The interview ends as it started, 100% inauthentic, same as most so-called news reporting. Not to mention the entertainment industry, interviewers feeding self-important people's love for themselves, and thus instructing viewers to look up to mediocre or less than mediocre celebrities. The word itself, celebrities, is a result of the manipulation. I'm so inspired by Perry's courage, strength and resilience, and I can't wait to hear her talk more about all of her great qualities in other interviews. But now I want to check this week's pollen count, because I find that infinitely more exciting. Until next time.
You are now officially an astronaut.
I'm a feminist!
You are now officially an astronaut.
Hold up!